This is day 2 at Virginia Beach. We're super excited to be here, and I'm here with Jordan. You want to introduce our next guest?
Yes, I would love to. Hello, everybody. We have an amazing interview right here with Nathaniel and Marzena Pawlowski. They are the son and wife of Pastor Arthur Pawlowski, who was arrested. How long ago was he arrested?
He was arrested first week of February, and he was in there for 51 days.
For 51 days. And that was for keeping the church open, right? During the lockdowns?
No, that was for giving a sermon to the truckers. So as you know, there was a big trucker protest,
yes.
a convoy. And one of the places where the truckers were protesting was on the border of Montana and Alberta at Coots and Sweetgrass. And down there, he went to give a sermon, give a Lord's Supper, prayer, encourage them. And for his speech there, they claimed he's solely responsible for the trucker protest, and they arrested him a few days after and kept him basically in solitary confinement straight for 51 days.
Wow. And right now he is out, but on house arrest.
Yes,
is that correct?
He was released under strict conditions, curfew from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. because obviously he's the most dangerous at nighttime, apparently. So house arrest, probation officer. He has to keep the peace and be of good behavior, whatever that means. And he had to pay a large bail sum.
Wow. This is just truly unbelievable. I mean, it really is. And how have you all been dealing with this as the family, as his wife, as his son? How have you been getting through?
Yeah, as a family, people are looking at us and they say, you are so courageous, you are so strong. And then am I? So I guess when you are with the Lord, He gives you strength. So in the start of this journey, we had to make decision. Either we go all the way, and when we are going through circumstances like arrests and jails and all that, we know that after every valley, there's a hill, period. So we have to go through it. There is no backing up. And I just wanted to add what my son was saying. The reason they gave him curfew 7 to 7 is they were really upset. They were really upset what he was saying in US. So they really didn't wanted him to be here. So we decided as a family, okay, he is not allowed, we are coming. Wow. So that's the reason why we're here.
Wow. And with that, how the family dealt with it, I think it was more difficult for my mom. I don't think any wife can get used to their husband being in prison. Yeah. For me personally, I've been sort of bred for this. I mean, I first witnessed my dad get arrested when I was 6 years old when he was reading the Bible publicly in a public park to 6 people. So he was arrested because the police officer deemed the Bible to be offensive. And for it being offended...
Is this in Canada?
Yes, this is in Canada in 2006. That was his first arrest for publicly reading the Bible. So I witnessed this, and since then, 16 arrests. All for doing his job as a pastor, not for like legitimate crimes, for feeding the poor, for keeping his church open during mandates, for doing his job as a pastor. So me personally, I grew up with this. So I've sort of become numb to this in a way where I'm not gonna be as down about it. I'm gonna try to act. So what I did when he was in prison was go outside of the prison for 45 days straight, every single day protesting there with a group ranging from 30 to 200 people. So we were outside of the prison where he was being kept every single day protesting. We would do music, speeches, some honking, Canadian style. And that was our way to try to pressure them to let him go. And eventually it worked because they transferred him. They were so sick of us that they transferred him to the next city over. And then they started treating him much poorer. They put him in the psych ward, for example, against the medical advice. Like he didn't get any medical screening, and they put him in the psych ward with a roommate who was a schizophrenic who had killed his brother with a machete. So
my
like
goodness.
all this stuff, it's
Canada,
very
Canada.
sketchy. This is in Canada.
In Canada. Yeah.
4 different guards, and I can attest to this because some inmates that he made friends with on the inside called us because they were concerned for his safety, because 4 different guards came to several different inmates and tried to incite them by trying to give them incentives to beat my dad up in prison.
Wow.
So they're willing to testify about these inmates. So they were really trying to hurt him. They were really trying to break him. And I think what this was all about was, well, one, to silence him, but also to get him to plead guilty, to just get it to end, just get him out of this, like, solitary confinement for that long period of time is torture, essentially. Anything
is.
over 14 days is deemed torture in solitary confinement, 23
It's
hours a day.
inhumane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were trying to break him, and the prosecutor came to him one day and they said, if you just plead guilty to one little charge, you can be let off. We'll drop everything else we have on you. So they just want him to have a criminal record so that the headline reads, the mainstream media reads, this, well-known pastor pleads guilty. He is indeed a criminal. And that means he can't come to the States, and that means all this would come with it. So I think that's what they were aiming for, but they failed because they didn't break him.
Because
Now-
you can't break him because he's got God on his side.
And that's was going to be my next question. And we were talking a little before this about his spirits through all this. How is he? We know with God, of course, but
Yes.
how can you kind of speak into how he is enduring through this?
I think after every attack and after every major, to be in jail for 50 days, it's something major for our family. What we realize afterwards, we are stronger and stronger and stronger. So those circumstances make us stronger. So they are not accomplishing anything. Because after every arrest, every attack, either is in our private life or church, we find ourselves as family and in faith stronger, and we are growing in authority. And I wanted to use this opportunity to thank you guys, to thank you, because majority of phone calls we received was from United States. Majority of phone calls to the jail was from United States, because pressure works. People were calling city officials, province officials, directly to Remand Center, which is Calgary jail, and they were saying, "What are you doing?" And then we have those reports, and one of the politicians say to the Americans, "Why do you care? Why do you care? Why you keep calling and harassing us?" So he blew up, and of course we care. Of course we care, because that's why we are here, and that's why my husband was last year repeating himself like a broken record. I even called him. I said, "Can you always change a little bit your message? You're repeating yourself." But that's why we want you to know that you have China next door, and that should concern you. That should concern national security of this
Yes.
country.
Yeah.
This is, you have to be there to see it. You have to see it, and you had next door little Cuba, and look at the mess to this day. So
Yes.
now you have entire border, and you should be concerned. So we are again here to say thank you, and to use this platform to say keep doing what you're doing.
With that first part, there's a quote. It goes, "Christianity is like a nail. The harder you hit it, the deeper it goes." So every time they do something to my dad, to our family, it always manages to give us a platform that we wouldn't have been able to imagine otherwise. Like, it elevates my dad and us way higher than we could have ever imagined. So it almost goes against what you would think. It's ironic, and really they should stop doing it, because it just keeps elevating us. So it's kind of ironic. And also, we really are here to, one, thank Americans, because, for example, there were 2 protests in New York at embassies and consulates protesting the illegal imprisonment of my dad. They had banners,
Good.
Canada's first political prisoner, Arthur Pawlowski. this huge group and outside of the embassy. So it was really amazing to see the support from America. But we're also here to warn you that you're only one step behind Canada.
Yes.
So if they're going to do this to Canadian pastors, they're going to do this to anyone. And I'm starting to see this in your country. This is happening here. It's starting to happen. So if you guys don't start fighting for your rights, this didn't happen overnight in Canada. This was one little law at a time, one little infringement at a time, and eventually they took it all, right? They go for an inch, they take the mile.
Absolutely.
Wow.
They do.
Thank you so much for saying that. I think that's one of the most powerful things, the messages that I think you can share and that we can take from this, because people, we've grown up with these freedoms here and no one really is thinking that. I think that it would be possible that they could be taken away, but we are seeing it. That's what this awakening is about. And I do think that you've been given this cross to bear, but that this is the great purpose that is coming out of it. And
absolutely,
we can't thank you guys enough. Now, Nathaniel, are you in ministry as well? Or because I know, Marzena, we were saying that you didn't, see yourself speaking like this, but it's just kind of happened. How do you feel about all of this?
I'm a university student, so I'm just finishing up my degree. So I was not planning on doing this with my life, but I was just sort of thrown into it. So I had to sort of step up and start doing that because my dad was in need. He was in jail. We didn't know if he was going to be in there for a year, 10 years, right? Like how long? So I had to start doing stuff, start applying pressure and started speaking more.
Wow. Well, as we said, thank you so much for what you're both doing. Before we sign off, would you like to tell people how they can support you, or what can we do for you all?
Yeah, so you can go to courageousfaithtour.com if you want to help us on our journey here in the U.S. And you can go there and help us out.
Okay, great, everybody. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you
guys
all
very
so much.
Thank you for telling your story, for telling your dad's story. It's such a powerful one, and we need it right now.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good to be here.
Thank you. We'll be right back.